Hey YouTube, it's your boy Widgie here, coming at you with some more strategy games with, of course, Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition, and we have the August update, and this is the PUP at the moment, which is the public update preview. So you guys can go into Steam, you can change the version of your game so you can play this version, and the developers and the staff always want sort of feedback, issues and stuff with the game so that they can make these changes before it is fully released in August. And just looking at this, there are huge changes, and there's actually a lot of positive feedback I've seen so far. I haven't actually looked through all this, but there is going to be a huge rework of the Haud Rework. There's going to be new cards and stuff like that. So let's jump into this straight away. August update, build 100.13.1666.2.0. And let's have a look at the game stability performance. I'm not going to touch upon this too much. It's just fixing crashes, certain bugs and stuff like that. We don't really see any sort of pathing issues or anything like that, and maybe shift queuing issues, TP issues that we still have. I haven't seen that as of yet, but I may be missing it. There's some UI changes here as well. I'm not going to go through those too much. Let's have a quick look at gameplay fixes. Fixed an issue where mission further didn't correctly apply the research discount. Lakota can now upgrade weapon battery towers. Indian card now correctly affects Berber camel riders. Okay, nothing too crazy. Let's get on to Haud Rework gameplay adjustments, because this one's pretty big. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff here, a lot of new cards and everything, and I want to see what they're changing, what they're potentially removing and stuff like that, because I think Haud is a pretty decent civ as it is. And my kind of motto is sort of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm kind of scared what they're adding in here. So let's have a look. So units, buildings, we've got community plaza. Healers may also now socialize at the community plaza to improve the benefits of ceremonies. Interesting. Same effectiveness as a villager. This also affects the Lakota healer ceremony. This also affects the Lakota. Then it's healer's ceremony now spawns healers less quickly. This also affects the Lakota. They keep saying. Harvest ceremony. Train speed bonus for military units is now considerably better, but the train speed bonus for eco units has been reduced. This affects all civilizations. Wow. So is the harvest ceremony the fertility? Have they changed that? Have they renamed it? Or am I losing the plot? Harvest ceremony. And they're saying healer's ceremony. Is that also warrior priests? Or does that not include warrior priests? There's some weird wording here. Harvest says train speed for military, but the train speed for eco has been reduced. That is affecting all civs. So the way that I see that is that's affecting... Yeah, that's kind of strange. Exponents, military, I have... Oh, right, okay, this is the percentage changes, I think. Or the increases of what they're saying. We've got the mantlet here. Cost reduced to 80 wood and 80 coin. From 75 to 125. Bounties adjusted accordingly. Interesting. So I don't know whether mantlets are going to start to be used that much. I rarely see them, to be honest, in supremacy games. I know they're used in treaty quite a bit. The ram no longer tagged as infantry. Hit points increased to 250. Interesting. So once again, could maybe be seeing some ram action in Age 2. Once again, another unit that I rarely see with Haud in Supremacy. Technologies, the Chief, Council Member, Exploration Age to Commerce, now ships 2 villagers down from 3. Okay, that's a little bit of a hit, because sometimes with your build orders and stuff, especially with 1v1, you can go for the Chief. It's not all common, but sometimes you do if you go for like an FI potentially. So, okay, bit of a nerf there, so maybe not going to be choosing that option going forward. Let's look at the cards. So they've renamed a lot of these to make things confusing. So like infantry attack, they've renamed that to war hut warrior attack. They're saying that it now only affects Aena tomahawks and forest prowlers. That's interesting. Same with the infantry hit points and infantry combat. With Haud though, there was a tactics card or something like that upgraded them. Is this a really huge nerf, or am I losing the plot? Because they're just saying that it's been renamed, but they're also saying here that it affects just Aena tomahawk and forest prowlers. So I think that's all the infantry units though, the main ones anyway, unless I'm losing the plot. So okay, all right, maybe nothing to be too concerned about. Siege combat, Age 3 is now added to home city with expected icon. Interesting. So there isn't a lot of information here. I don't know if is there another... Right, so I did have a look around to see if I can find some more info, but unfortunately I cannot. So if you guys do have it, let me know down in the comments below, of course, if there's a further link that provides further content. I would have to go into the PUP itself and find out what all of these new cards are. So we've got a bunch here. We've got Beaver Wars, Siege Construction, Environmentalism, North American Trade, Medicine Wheels, the Wampum, Covenant Chain, Canadian Loyalists, 22 Lenape Allies. So very, very interesting cards. And unfortunately, I don't have the information, so I'm not too sure. But we'll get more information as time goes on. You can go into the PUP version of the game and you can find these and find out what they are. So I might be doing that at some point and maybe I can update you guys. So we can see here 2 light cannons. That is quite a big one because that's kind of a big one when you go for like an FI strategy, when you go for a fast industrial. You want to use that card as soon as possible. Light cannons are really good. So having that removed is quite an impact. There's a new Team 2 light cannon card though, so maybe that is going to be something in like 3v3s and 4v4s, maybe even 2v2s. That's going to be a nice card maybe to have. And there's a new 3 healers card. So I think these healers, they've always been in there, right? They've all, because you got the priestesses for Inca, you got the warrior priests for Aztec. I'm assuming that Lakota and Haud just have healers, right? Must be. We've got 7 and 6 mantlets here. The 7 mantlets increased to 10, and then the 6 mantlets in Age 4 has obviously just been removed. And there's a new Team 3 mantlets card. So they really want you guys to use mantlets. So you can see that, you know, the ram and the mantlet have had changes both up here as well. So maybe they want to try and see that a little bit more being utilized. So we'll see. Moving on to Civ Balance, and look at it. Look at all of this. This is kind of crazy. And I don't want to go through every single line of this. I'm just going to scan and pick out certain things that we all know needs to be addressed, because I don't want to just read through all of this because I think it's just going to take too much time. So we can see the Priest and Imam cost reduced to 100 coin, bounties adjusted, captured mortars have gone down as well. Just having a look here. African heroes no longer gain attack and hit point shadow improvements until the industrial and imperial ages. Wow, that's kind of huge, because normally I think it's with the Hausa. There's a card where you can get a second explorer unit and they can be really good together taking down treasures and stuff like that. And they obviously shadow tech at the moment when you go up from age 1 to 2, 2 to 3 and so on. So having this change is going to stop that. Javelin riders are a big thing as well, so hit points being reduced, so that's another nerf basically to both African civs. Armored Pistolier, that troll unit, the guys that are in full sort of black armor and just do insane sort of area damage, their HP has been reduced. That is very significant. That's nearly like a 16-17% reduction in HP. Quite devastating. The Desert Archer, that's another kind of cheesy, lamey build that you can do with Ethiopia, and we can see there's some adjustments here, so they're going to cost more population. Their heavy infantry multiplier is going to be reduced, and yeah, also it says now occupies 3 population space. Yeah, it's just said that. That's the Desert Warrior as well, sorry. Okay, so more pop space. Interesting. The Crabat. There it is. One of the most ridiculous units. Everybody hates it. Let's have a look. Crabat ranged armor is now reduced. Range attack is also decreased. That is insane. That is such a decrease there. 43 to 30. Melee cavalry damage multiplier has been reduced. Shock infantry damage multiplier adjusted accordingly. Wow. So a huge nerf across the board there for Crabat. So I'm not too sure if they're going to be like too viable or a priority in supremacy games. Let's have a look here. Just having a look, there's some mounted changes and dismounted. I'm not going to touch upon those too much. The mountain monastery can now be built nearby capturable food mills. Interesting. We've got the Hanover Hussars here. Now start with its Death Strike ability fully charged. Okay. And there's some other Royal House units here as well. I'm not going to go through those too much. And we got some cards here. Let's have a look. I'm just going down. The gas lighting, that's been reduced. So that's a buff for Italy because that's normally a card that you get from the Basilica. So you can get another villager, and having the cost reduced from 100 to 75 means that you can just get that villager a lot cheaper. So that's nice. We've got some bandit, gang, and outlaw. Okay, I'm just having a quick look. There's some more royal house stuff here. Cost being reduced for both the Saxon Grenadiers and the Filiki. I don't even know some of these guys. I don't really dabble with the European sort of trade posts that much. I probably should, but I am not too averse with it. So you can have a look at that yourself. Moving on to the civilizations. Now, China, as I mentioned in my recent tier list, you guys can check that out, by the way. It was about 4 or 5 videos ago on my channel, and China was on pretty much the top. So China right now, let's have a look. Starting resources, they begin with a goat, but it used to be a semi-fattened goat. So you're not going to have as much food at the start. Fair enough. Units and buildings, the meteor hammer, bonus damage against artillery reduced to 1.34. Wow, that is absolutely huge. That reduction, if you look at that as like a sort of percentage, that's insane. That's like a 30% reduction, or even more than that, the actual multiplier there. So that's going to be big because the meteor hammer used to be so good because the attack actually has range. So it means that you don't have to be next to an artillery piece to hit it. You could hit it over units. But that was the only real thing that China had. They had the hand cannons. They're okay, but they're situational. But the meteor hammers were, and the flails as well, those kind of 2 cav units were the ones that could deal with artillery. So it's going to be tricky now for China. Technologies, the blockhouse, of course, the Russian relations, one of the most useful ones that you go for when you start your age up, essentially. This has reverted the ability to train castle banner armies. Wow. Okay. Let's just say goodbye to the Kashyyyk Age 2 play, because that basically gets rid of it 100%. So what you used to be able to do with the blockhouse, you could create pretty much nearly all your banner armies from the blockhouse. One of them was the Kashyyyk Steppe Rider banner army. Now, because it's reverted, you no longer can do that. And the cost has been increased as well to 250. So it means that your blockhouse is going to take longer to get up. If it takes longer to get up, it means that you may be susceptible to an earlier rush before your blockhouse is even fully up. The T export card, once again, this is a main card that you'll go for. Export trickle has been reduced to 0.25 from 0.4. So that's actually huge. Once again, that's like a 35% reduction or something like that. So once again, another nerf. The 11 Changdao Swordsman. I think this is one that Harrison swears by, or maybe it's a one in H4, I'm not too sure. Anyway, 11 Changdao Swordsman reduced to 10, so there's a nerf. One knockoff for the Arquebusier, and it's this one, the 18 Changdao, another one there as well. So nerfs all round for China. Is it gonna make a huge difference? I think the blockhouse one is going to be big, and I think the T export is as well. Is the T export still going to be viable because you get a consulate from it? I don't know. Maybe just opening up with villages or a village in TP and missing the T export. Maybe that is the way forward. Maybe it's not going to be worth it. I don't know. We'll have to give it a go. Moving on, Ethiopia. So a couple of cards here. The Zabanias, siege armor improvement reduced and hit point improvement reduced. Loyal Warriors has been moved to Fortress Age. Now, this Loyal Warriors, I believe, is one that improves either your mercenary or your outlaws. It makes them cheaper or more powerful. I can't remember, but it's a card that is used if you want to go for the outlaw play, which is like the desert archer play. And you normally do that when you're in age 2. So the fact that they've moved this from age 1 to 3, it's going to try and stop that kind of Ethiopia play. So maybe Ethiopia isn't going to become as lamey as it is at the moment. Hausa, there's a card here. Air Berbers has been moved to the Fortress Age. I'm not too sure what this card is. You know, I'm not going to lie. I don't know what it is. Moving on, Inca, units and buildings. The Haraka adjustment as follows. Added 2 artillery multiplier to all of its attacks. Okay, added a 2 times artillery. So it's, I don't know what it had before. Bonus damage against infantry has been reduced. Right, okay, so this is starting to look more like a artillery piece. So it's good at buildings and it's also potentially good at artillery. So it's a little bit like the siege elephant. They're trying to move away from it also being good at all infantry. So they've reduced that bonus there, which I think is fair. All range attacks now benefit from the target lock effect. Okay, so that is a buff. Once the firing animation begins, the attack will always finish, even if the target moves out of range. Great, so that's a change that was also done to Lakota in the previous update. Priestess, adjustment that follows. Conversion range is now improved upon reaching the Fortress and Industrial, and by +5 upon reaching Imperial. Previously didn't improve. This makes their maximum range 27. It should make them more of a formidable force against expensive units. Okay, so maybe there is some kind of play late into the game with the Priestess where they can kind of just wallalaw. They can sort of convert large units. So, okay, interesting. But overall, I think Inca, yeah, I don't know, sort of overall slight nerf maybe, not too sure. Italians, let's have a look. One of the latest civilizations. Shipments, XP cost penalty is reduced. Okay, that's a buff there, right? That makes sense. Units and buildings, the architect adjustment as follows. Coin cost reduced, bounties adjusted, training time improved. Now constructs Lombards in 100 seconds. Okay, so we're getting some serious buffs here across the board for Italy. That's going to improve, yeah, the Lombard times. The investment now deposits 250 resources. Investment cap increased, however. Ah, right, that's pretty big. So a lot better in the longer game. The more Lombards you have, the quicker your resources get converted. But now the cap's gone from 3k to 5k. It means that you can just keep piling resources in there, and it just improves your economy overall and your macro and stuff like that. So that's another good buff to Italy. Cards, we've got the 7 Pavizia up to 8. So yeah, that's going to be a card that's definitely going to be used. It's already used, so that's a nice buff there. The team House of Savoy, I'm not too sure which one this is, but it's no longer infinite. And there's a new native warrior one added to the home city as well. And 25 Bourbon Allies, that is the one where you get 25 insane musketeers when you go for like an FI. This card no longer activates the guard upgrade for these units, also affects the Maltese. So big nerf there if you want to kind of go for a Bourbon Ally timing when you go for a fast industrial. So interesting kind of ups and downs across the board there for Italy. Let's have a look at Lakota. So they had a recent update previous. So civs. Starting resources, here we go. So this Lakota are one of the best civs at the moment, I would say. Definitely top 5, potentially top 3. Civ, starting resources adjusted, 400 food, 100 wood and 100 gold. And it looks like they have just taken out 100 wood, which I think is absolutely great because it stops the crazy sort of early TP opening and potentially double TP opening that you can do with Lakota. So I like that change. I think that's fair. Units and buildings, the TP gather rate has also been reduced. The bow rider doesn't do as much damage to villagers, so there isn't as much raiding capability with bow riders. The Tashunkis have been moved to the industrial age. Jesus, okay. And technologies, the legendary Wakina rifle now also grants +1 range. Nice little bonus. The bone pipe armor now improves siege armor further. And the Great Hunter card, this is actually a great card. Instead of giving you 10% of the food that you've hunted so far, it's instead of it giving you 12.5, it's giving you 10. So that's another nerf there, unfortunately. And 4 Tashunkis have been removed as well from the home city. Damn. And Dakota support moved to the industrial. Okay, but you get 10 Tashunkis instead of 5, but it costs 1,500. So I think overall it might be a pretty good card, but it's industrial again. Friendly territory now also causes TPs to increase the range of nearby military units. Okay, so there could be some sort of play with upgrading the TPs then. There's a further buff there. So I see what they're doing. They're decreasing the gather rate for TPs, but also giving them more usability with the friendly territory cards. So, okay, so interesting. Earth Bounty moved to the Fortress. Now trickles 2.5. Now boosts estate work rate. Okay. The Advanced Capture Mortars, that's a big card. Now only ships 3 instead of 4. Now reduces the population as well. And the cost has increased to 750. Jesus. So once again, Lakota are going to be struggling with siege options. This was one of the main siege options for Lakota if you're going to go late game. And that card is kind of not helpful there. So that's another nerf. And they've added 3 new cards there, as we can see. So Fur Trade, North American Trade, and Medicine Wheels. Now, I've got to say, I've only really heard of Fur Trade. So I don't know whether or not these are 2 new cards that I don't know about. But the Fur Trade one is a food gathering upgrade. So, okay, very interesting. Overall, definitely a nerf, definitely required that some of the stuff needed to be addressed. Is it gone? Have they gone too far with it? I don't know. We'll have to see. The Maltese, one of the new civs, units and buildings, depot, increased build time and triggered detonation time. Yeah, a lot of people were spanning depots everywhere. And okay, that's and triggered detonation time. Yeah, so it takes longer for it to explode and longer to build as well. Cards hire the Royal Horseman, fixed an issue that allow the card to be sent 3 times. We've got buffs to Sentinels across the board. Look at that, 7 and 8, bumping up to 8 and 9. Very, very good. The British tongue has also been increased, so maybe we're going to see some more use of that. Maybe. Spanish tongue is also going up as well. Portuguese tongue is going up. French tongue's going up. And Flintlock rockets now increases the Sentinel cost and stats by 45. Wow. So, yeah, overall, Maltese there getting a nice little buff to a lot of their cards. Very nice. So maybe we're going to see some more FF play maybe. A lot of those are H3 changes. Maybe going like the Portuguese tongue's quite nice. You get 2 extra Castadors. That can't be too bad. So, Ottoman. This is kind of a strange one for me. I don't get this. This is a further nerf to the Ottomans. We lose a covered wagon. And this is going to be a shame for Rukis. So, Rukis Record, he's a streamer, quite a well-known player that plays very sort of eco-driven with Ottoman. He does like a TC boom where he literally builds tons of TCs. And one of the cards he uses most of the time is the covered wagon, and that's not going to be there. So I think this is kind of unnecessary, but I think it's interesting. They're kind of removing that. They kind of maybe want Ottoman to play without the million TCs. I don't really know. It's a strange one, and I want to know the rationale behind removing that. It would be nice to know. The Swedes, the French Fusiliers. Oh, this is the ridiculous one. Where you get those, you get 3 of them, right? Yeah. You get 3 Fusiliers, and they're really fast units, and it's a really sort of lamey strat, you could say, in H2. So we're not going to be seeing that anymore. Don't have to worry about it in H2. It's going to be moving to the Fortress Age. It's going to be going up to 1,000 coin, but you get 7 instead of 3. So you are actually getting slightly more value with that card, but once again, it means that you've got to get to age 3 to be able to use it. United States, units and buildings, the Carbine Cavalry now benefit from the target lock feature. So once again, that's getting the nice target lock feature added as well. Shotgun Messengers, this card now also sends 4 Cowboys and 4 Alhoots, but does not affect the card unlocked by the Mexican Civ Baja California Rev, which has been renamed to Coach Guns. Okay. And they're adding random maps overview. There's 3 new maps. Look at that. Map updates. The standard and team maps can now be filtered in the map selection screen. Okay, cool. That's actually pretty cool. So standard map set. They've added all of these. They've switched them all around. They've removed these ones here, but you can see, I think some of these are new. I think that one's new and that one's new. I'm not too sure. But they look really cool. Really, really cool. And they've done extensive sort of map sort of changes on here. I'm not going to go through all of these, but you guys can check that out definitely. So that is pretty much it. We can see just a quick couple of comments. They didn't need to remove the covered wagon. They just needed to remove the revolts. So there you go. There's the first one. Yeah, would be great if there's if any new item had a brief description with it and which civ it's applicable to. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that, Callan. I can't see it either, my friend. Way to kill the Aztec unique feature. Yeah, because that's true, because Aztec gets 3 warrior priests. There's a 3 warrior priest card, and that's only unique to Aztec. So they're sort of removing that, which sucks. And he goes, what's the point of stealth? This is Garja, by the way, our Lord and Savior. What's the point of stealth melee units then? Come on, this is just stupid. Stealth ability, all units, but not buildings, will reveal a stealth enemy if the enemy is within 2 range of it. Oh, that's absolutely stupid. What's the point in having stealth units then? If it's going to be revealed within 2 range. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm with him on that. This is not how to balance the game. Oh my god. May no longer use the cover mode tactic. African... Wait, yeah, sure. Some people who don't play those civs complain, so those explorers will have random exemptions. This is how you balance the game. African heroes no longer gain attack and hit point shadow improvements. Why does Italy have an XP cost penalty in the first place? Shipments are standard. Yeah. So people are saying here, when are they going to insert the ELO of the player you match in queues? That would be absolutely amazing, and I don't understand that. Why can't... How difficult is that? Like, when we queue up with someone, when we seeing on the load screen, we can see what their ELO is. Why? We can see what the ELO is, so we know what we're playing against. I don't, that seems just to make sense for me, but I don't know. Anyway, guys, I hope you find that enjoyable. Sorry that it went on for quite a while. It's probably going to be like nearly a half-an-hour video. Jesus Christ. There's tons of stuff in this update. So it looks like the team are doing a lot. They're trying to address as much as possible, which is great to see. It's always good to see a lot of stuff going on, a lot of fixes, changes, tweaks, new additions, and stuff like that. So it's nice to see that, and it's very sort of encouraging to see that. But it's just some of the things we'll have to see when we start playing the game when it's fully released. So let me know down in the comments below, of course, what you think about it. And of course, I'll catch you in the next video on the next stream, guys. And have a good one. And if you found it useful, please feel free to drop a like. All right, catch you later, guys. Bye.